A terrible event occurred on August 24, 79 AD. After centuries of dormancy, Mount Vesuvius erupted in southern Italy, destroying the thriving Roman cities Pompeii and Herculaneum, and killed thousands of people and their backbone after snatching their homes. The ancient cities of Pompeii flourished, and Herculaneum near the base of Mount Vesuvius. In the Gulf of Naples, at the time of the early Roman Empire, and according to the history website, 20,000 people lived in Pompeii, including merchants, manufacturers, and farmers, who exploited the rich soil of the region, with many vineyards and orchards. No one doubted that the fertile Black Earth. It was a legacy of volcanic eruptions. Prior to Mount Vesuvius, Herculaneum was a city, with a population of 5,000, and a favorite summer destination for the wealthy Romans. Herculaneum was named after the legendary hero Hercules, and it included luxurious villas and large Roman baths. At noon on August 24, AD 79, this fun and prosperity came to an end. When the summit of Mount Vesuvius erupted, it sent a 10-mile-long cloud of ash, and over the next 12 hours, volcanic ash and a shower of rocks showered it. Up to 3 inches in diameter reached the city of Pompeii, forcing the city's inhabitants to flee in terror. About 2,000 people remained in Pompeii, hiding in cellars or stone structures, hoping to survive the eruption. The west wind protected Herculaneum from the first phase of the eruption, but then a gigantic cloud of hot ash and gas shot up on the west side of Vesuvius, engulfing the city and burning or suffocating all who remained. This deadly cloud was followed by a flood of mud and volcanic rock, which to bury the city. Those who remained in Pompeii were killed on the morning of August 25 when a cloud surrounded them. A poisonous gas poured over the city, suffocating all that was left, followed by an outpouring of rock and ash, collapsing roofs and walls and burying the dead. Much of what we know comes from the eruption. From what was written by Pliny the Younger, who dwelt west along the Bay of Naples. When Vesuvius erupted, and in 2 letters to the historian Tacitus, he spoke of how the people covered their heads with pillows, the only defense against a shower of stones, and how a dark, terrible cloud charged with combustible substances suddenly broke out. Pliny, aged only 17, survived the disaster and later became a writer and a prominent Roman official. His uncle, Pliny the Elder, was less fortunate. Pliny the Elder was a famous naturalist at the time of the eruption. After Vesuvius had erupted, he took his boat across the Bay to Stabii, to investigate the eruption and to reassure the terrified citizens. After going ashore, he was overcome with poisonous gas and died. According to Pliny the Younger's account, the eruption lasted 18 hours, and Pompeii was buried under 14 to 17 feet of ash, the nearby sea coast was greatly altered, and Herculaneum was buried under more than 60 feet of mud and volcanic material. Some of the inhabitants of Pompeii later returned to exhume their ruined homes and salvage their prized possessions, but many of the treasures were left behind and then forgotten. In the 18th century, a well digger unearthed a marble statue at the site of Herculaneum, and the local government set up excavating some artifacts. Other value, but the project has been abandoned. And in the year 1748, a farmer found the ruins of Pompeii under his field, and since then, the excavations have continued approximately without interruption to the present. In 1927, the Italian government resumed excavations at Herculaneum, recovering many art treasures, including bronze and marble statues and paintings. The remains of 2,000 men, women, and children were found in Pompeii, and after they died of suffocation, their bodies were covered with ash, which preserved the outlines of their bodies. Later, their bodies decomposed into skeletal remains, leaving behind a kind of plaster cast. The archaeologists who found these casts filled the cavities with plaster, revealing, in grim detail, the deaths of the victims of Vesuvius. Revealing new genetic secrets in the remains of the victims of a volcano that erupted 2,000 years ago. A picture taken in 1934 of the remains of 2 people. They were found in what is known as the House of Artisans, in the ancient city of Pompeii. Researchers were able to extract genetic secrets from the bones of a man and a woman who were among the victims of the Vesuvius volcano, which buried the neighborhoods of the Italian city of Pompeii, about 2,000 years ago. The researchers said that this is the first nearly complete human genome to be obtained from the remains of the victims of the Vesuvius volcano. The genetic material of the victims of that ancient volcano remained preserved in the transformed remains by the ash of the volcano, and time into solids. This research discovery was published in Scientific Reports. It was the two victims whose genetic secrets were extracted. Their bones were discovered in 1933, in a place that archaeologists call Casa del Fabbro or Artisan's House in Pompeii. The two victims were relaxing in a corner of the dining room, which suggests that they were you eat at the time of the volcano eruption, on August 24, 79 AD. A study was suggested. A huge cloud, from the ashes of Vesuvius, was able to kill all the inhabitants of the city of Pompeii in less than 20 minutes. The two characters, the owners of the discovered genetic material, were not trying to escape from the volcanic eruption, according to researcher Serena Viva, from the Italian University of Salento. Serena told the BBC, "It appears from the position of the bodies of the two victims, that they were not in a state of flight. It may be due to health reasons that they did not attempt to escape." This was indicated by the results of the study, the bones of the two victims. "It's all about the preservation of the skeletons," said Gabriele Scorano, a researcher at the Center for Geogenetics in Copenhagen. Thanks to the good condition of the victims' skeletons and the latest laboratory techniques, the researchers were able to extract an enormous amount of information from the heart of a small amount of crushed bones, according to researcher Scorano. And Scorano points out that it is possible, using modern technical machines, to read a number of genetic status sheets, the genome, at one time. Genetic study revealed that is the skeleton of a man. It contained genetic material of a bacterium that causes pulmonary tuberculosis, which suggests that he may have been suffering from the disease before Vesuvius attacked him. A small portion of his skull bones contained enough genetic material to fully identify his genetic code. The study showed that this man carried genetic markers, or distinctive signs in his genetic code, similar to other individuals who lived in Italy during the Roman Empire. The study also showed that the same man carried a group of common genes in Sardinia, which suggests that there was high levels of genetic diversity in the Italian peninsula at that time. Researcher Scorano says there's still a lot to be uncovered through biological research in the city of Pompeii, including disclosures related to genetic material, in a way that would, in turn, reveal more of the biological richness that abounded in that ancient era. Scorano says, "Pompeii is a Roman island, we have a picture of it from one day." From the year 79 AD. Researcher Serena Viva believes that every human body found in Pompeii is a treasure. These bodies are witnesses to one of the most important historical events in the world, and working with these bodies is, for me, very emotional and very important, she says. In the year 79 AD, Mount Vesuvius erupted in the ancient city of Pompeii, which is located near Naples, Italy. And the ancient city was buried under volcanic dust, so that its inhabitants froze in the same conditions they were in at the moment of the volcanic eruption, leaving the region a rich source of discoveries for archaeologists and researchers in anthropology, and others.